Now, I'm incredibly humbled to introduce one of our two amazing keynote speakers this morning. Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus is the architect of both social business and microcredit. He's the founder of the Grameen Bank and more than 50 other companies in Bangladesh. For his constant innovation and enterprise, Fortune magazine named Professor Yunus in March 2012 as one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. In 2006, Professor Yunus and the Grameen Bank were jointly awarded a Nobel Peace Prize. He is a recipient of 61 honorary degrees from universities across 24 countries, and he has received 136 awards from 33 countries, including state honors in 10. He is one of the very few individuals to have received the Nobel Peace Prize, the United States Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the United States Congressional Gold Medal. He's appeared on the cover of Time magazine, Newsweek, and Forbes magazine. So without further ado, Professor Yunus, he's going to say some remarks, and I'm going to come back to ask him 3 important questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your kind introduction. I'm very delighted to meet all the young entrepreneurs, all the excitement that is creating. But we are all talking in the context of the pandemic right now, which has depressed everybody around the world. And what is most depressing out of it is it revealed all the weaknesses that we have in our system today that are carrying on. And one of that weakness is something related to the way that we respond to global events. We are always telling ourselves and feeling comfortable about it, happy about it, that we have become a global family. It's a global village. So we are so close to each other. We are so integrated with each other. We have been considering ourselves as a global village. But as the pandemic came, we suddenly realized that this is not global village at all. It's a whole string of isolated islands, islands far away from each other, hardly recognized existence of another island. And we are busy trying to address the problem within our own island, rather than look at the other islands, what's happening. It's not a village type of outlook. It's a very, very sectarian outlook. It's a very tribal outlook. That's why we're talking about it led to our tribal feelings about taking care of ourselves. So this is the context where we have right now where we want to go. And I was remembering and I want to share with you another situation that I had faced is in Bangladesh in 1976, starting from 1974. That was the famine in the country. Bangladesh was just born at that time. We separated out from Pakistan. We used to be East Pakistan. We became Bangladesh in 1971, became a new country. And immediately after it became a new country, we hit by a terrible famine. People were dying on the streets, not because of any disease, not because of any aggression, just simply because they didn't have enough to eat. So these people are lying dead on the streets everywhere in the village corners and so on. And this is the time that I was teaching economics in a university in Bangladesh. I just came back from the United States where I was teaching. And since Bangladesh became independent, I thought I should come back. So young teacher coming back to Bangladesh in 72, facing famine in 1974, and feeling that whatever I'm teaching is totally useless because it doesn't give me the tools to help the people who are dying. It talks about many other things, nothing to do with the people's lives and their survival. And I feel very depressed, very disappointed that I have learned something which doesn't give me any opportunity to make myself useful to other people. So I was looking for ways to how to make myself useful. I realized that economics that I learned doesn't make me useful to anybody. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to go to the people right next to the university campus, the villages that existed around the campus, go there every day to talk to people, extremely poor people, and see how I can be useful to them, even for a day, even a tiny little thing I can do for them, to discover myself that I, yes, still have some usefulness left in me. And gradually I saw something I can do every day, little things, and gradually more things, better things, and so on. And along the way, after months and a couple of years, I saw terrible things happening in the life of the poor people because of the loan sharking. People need money, they borrow money from other people, and they take the advantage that you're helpless. I give you the money. In the process, I take over everything that you got. That's known as loan sharking. And it is so abundantly practiced within the village. And I feel so sad looking at the people who are suffering from that. And I was trying to see how I can help a few people, at least among the many in the village, to protect them from the loan sharks. So I didn't know because economics never taught me how to do that. So I was trying to figure out how to protect the people from the loan shark. So one idea came to my mind. Why don't I lend the money myself? If I lend the money, people will come to me. They don't have to go to loan shark. So he or she will be protected from the loan shark. I thought that's a good idea. I can do that. And I started lending money to people in the village and telling them that whenever you're ready, when you can pay back. Otherwise, it's okay. You continue and I'll wait for your money. And in the meantime, I keep giving more money to people who intend to get the money more from me. And it became very popular. As it became popular, more and more people taking it, I was very happy because I saw that it's helping people. Otherwise, why should they come and take the money from me? And that led me to many other issues. Why banks don't lend the money? And I challenged the banks that they should be lending money to the poor people. They are so desperate to get the money. And the banks explained to me they cannot lend money to poor people because they are not creditworthy. So I was trying to understand what do they mean by that creditworthy. They said that they're not capable of handling money. They're not capable of using the money and paying us back. So they'll never be able to pay us back. I said, they are paying me back. I had no problem. I said, is it something that you should be telling them that they are not creditworthy? Or they should be telling you that you are not people worthy? Why didn't you fix yourself first before you blamed others? You make yourself in a way so that you can do business with them. They laughed. They thought it was such a silly thing to say. Why should they be people worthy? But I took it very seriously, how to make banks people worthy. Along the way, since they are not lending money to poor people and it's growing, so I thought of creating my own bank. And that took some time. In 1976, we started. We became a formal bank after a long struggle to create in 1993. So we became a bank. We called it Grameen Bank or a village bank. And our intention was to lend money to the poor people the way I was doing it before we became a bank. And it worked. And gradually it became very popular. It went out of one village and the next village and the next village. It became nationwide bank. And we are very happy because people are taking money and paying us back. And it became internationally known by that time that how does it work? Why should the people pay back when they're not supposed to pay back, but they are paying back to this? The world became very curious, and they kept asking me, how did you do that? How did you design the system which lets people pay back? Because it's so hard thing to get the money back. I said, well, what I did is very simple. I have nothing complicated in the system. Whenever I need a procedure or a simple policy, I look at the conventional bank, how they do it in such cases. Once I learn how they do it, I just do the reverse. I do the opposite. And one after another, I add all those opposite ideas, opposite way of doing things. And in total, it became what we know now as a Grameen Bank. It's all about reversing of the conventional banking practices. They want to understand how exactly it happens. I said it's very simple. They go to the rich, and this is their motive. They want to go to rich, make money from them. And I reversed it. I go to the poor. They go to men. I'm reversed it. I go to women. So I go to the poor women, not the rich men. Then they want people to come to them to the business. So people have to go to the conventional bank to do their business at their place. I reversed it. I said people should not go to the bank. Bank should go to the people. So we reverse, we do the banking with the poor people at the places where they live. So we go there to do the business. And conventional banks want collateral. Before you take money, you have to show that you have enough money to pay back. I said, that's silly, that's ridiculous. Poor people don't have anything to show. So I dismissed it. There is no collateral in my system. Since we don't have any collateral in our system, we don't have to have any lawyers. We are the only lawyer-free bank in the whole world. There's no lawyer in our system. People say, well, it will not work. People, if you don't have any legal documents, they will never pay back. And you have to go to the court. You need the lawyers. You have the lawyers to begin with. I said, no, I don't need to. People pay back anyway. We have been doing it now for many, many years, about 45 years. But we had no problem with getting the money back. That's how Grameen Bank became known so well all over the world. And it became known as microcredit, and microcredit became global practice. So this is what we did, reversing everything in a way that it works for people. And when we see that they need the money, we provide the money and they gradually pay us back. We made it simple procedures and so on. And along the way, it's just, we saw this not just a small money giving to poor people. It's also, there are so many other problems, problem of healthcare, problem of housing, problem of sanitation. So one after another, we got involved with all those businesses, all these ideas, all these problems. In order to solve the problem, what we did, we create a business to solve the problem. If they're healthcare, we create a healthcare business to solve the problem. So it was not the intention of making a business, it was the intention of solving a problem. In order to solve the problem, we create a business. Like we created the business of banking to solve the problem of people's need for money to get ahead with doing things for themselves, to become entrepreneurs. So now we are addressing the healthcare as along the way, and we create healthcare programs. We created hospitals, high care hospitals. We have created digital healthcare system. It's a nationwide digital healthcare system now. We have a chain of healthcare hospitals. We have chain of rural healthcare centers and so on. So each one of them is a response to a problem to solve in a business way, with no intention of making money out of them. That's the key word. When we created the bank, we had no intention of making money for ourselves. All we wanted to do is to make sure people have the money and they can open their own mind and start earning money by themselves and return the money, and so that the bank can survive and continue and be sustainable. And this is what we did in healthcare. This is what we did in sanitation. This is what we did in housing. In each case, we created a new business. Business to solve problem, not to make money for anybody. If the business of course makes profit, profit is plowed back into the business. It doesn't go away to owners. And then we saw that people are using kerosene lamps all over the country. There's no electricity in the villages. So we came up with the idea, why don't we create a business to bring solar energy? We created a new business, call it Grameen Energy, to bring solar energy in the villages. It became very popular. It became very easy to get it. And you can get it at the cost of the kerosene that you buy for your kerosene lamp. All you do, you pay the monthly amount that you spend on kerosene to our company. Our company provides you the solar system. And if you continue to pay this kerosene money every month for over 3 years, you own the whole system. You don't have to pay anymore anybody. So you get your energy free without paying anybody anything. So that became very popular. It went all over the country. People start switching from the solar lamp to electric lamp and so on. And then it became available. Electricity opened up the doors for many other things. So one after another, we created these companies, and people keep on asking us, why do you create businesses which you say you don't want to make money? How can you do business without making money? I said, well, we do business like any other business. Only when the business makes profit, you don't want to take the profit, because profit kind of disengage you from the things that you want to do. That's another journey. You become obsessed with making money. So we dismiss the whole idea of making money right from the beginning. And we concentrate on solving the problem in a business way without taking money from the business. So it created such a debate we thought we should give a name to it so that it's easy to discuss this issue. We started calling them social business. And social business we define as a non-dividend business to solve human problems. It's a non-dividend, you don't take any dividend out of it, except getting the money back. Whatever you invested, you can take that money back to yourself, from the company. But after that, no dividend is to be received from the business. It's a social business. So idea of social business became very popular. Now it extended globally, and also many of the corporates became interested. So we set up businesses with the corporates like Danone. We have Grameen Danone company as a social business in Bangladesh, in joint venture with Danone, a company from France, to produce special kind of yogurt to address the problem of malnutrition among the children. So from that business, Danone doesn't want to take any profit out of it, and we don't want to take any profit out of it. It's social business. Whole purpose is to bring yogurt that we produce from this company to the poor children in an affordable price for them, so that mothers can buy them the yogurt. And once a child eats this yogurt over 7 or 8 months, the child becomes a healthy child. All the micronutrients which are missing in the child are packed into the very delicious pack of a little cup of yogurt, the daily requirement of yogurt, and gradually they become healthy children. So that's our objective, to do that. And then other companies like McCain became interested. They created their own social business. Euglena became interested from Japan. They created social business. And Uniqlo from Japan, the famous company for fashions, they became very interested. So they created social business jointly with us. So across the board, there are many social businesses that created, and we continue to do that. And now that leads us to a basic question that in the context of the pandemic that we have right now, the pandemic has raised many very difficult issues. And there's a huge number of people who lost their income, lost their livelihood during the pandemic. Economy slowed down or completely stopped for many people. They don't exist, the livelihood for them. So that pushed people down the income ladder. Those who moved out the poverty level in the last decades or so, after lots of effort from everybody, they could come over the poverty line. We say so many people came out of poverty. We felt so happy about that. But when the pandemic came, they are all pushed back into poverty. So suddenly they're no longer above the poverty line. So two things realized is that their survival above the poverty line was so tenuous, so fragile, that one little push, they go down. So they don't have a strong foothold above the poverty line. What's wrong with our system? How do we fix that system, which doesn't allow people to come out of the poverty in a robust way, in a confident way, that any kind of tornado, any kind of tsunami doesn't get them back into their old level of poverty, and so on and so forth. So this is one issue. And there is a tremendous amount of initiatives, urgency expressed by governments, by businesses, by civil society, to urge the policymakers to take the economy back to the pre-pandemic situation, wherever we are from. We're desperate to go back. So there are lots of money being mobilized. We call them stimulus packages. So lots of stimulus packages are collected. There's right now over $6 trillion accumulated in the stimulus packages of the world, waiting to pour this money out so that we can go back to the pre-pandemic situation. People feel very happy about that. The policymakers are getting ready for that. But I have been screaming, I have telling everybody, don't go back. Going back will be disastrous. So I said, now the real decision should be no going back. We don't want to go back to pre-pandemic situation. Why? Because pre-pandemic situation was a terrible situation. We are lucky that we are not moving in that direction anymore. Pandemic has released us from that speed that we are taking to go in the direction of terrible disasters that waiting for us. So it's very simple. We are all talking about all those disasters, but we don't put them together to see as an opportunity pandemic had created. I said during this pandemic's time, the whole world, before the pandemic time, the whole world was rushing towards global warming in high speed. And global warming is becoming higher and higher. And we are being told that we don't have much time left ahead of us. So urgency of the situation was so clear that we were going in a direction where our survival in this planet is at stake. So whatever we're doing for the pandemic situation, it was a suicidal path. We were about to commit suicide, no matter what business we do, what kind of excitement we have. But the real direction of the world is a direction of suicidal path. And now that pandemic is given an opportunity to stop that journey towards a suicidal path, we can take a pause and look around and go in another direction, not in the suicidal direction. So why should we miss this opportunity? I said, please think about it, make decision not to go back, but to go in a different direction. Today's situation, or pre-pandemic situation, is very clearly described by saying that we are in a burning house. Our house is burning, but inside that burning house, we are celebrating our successes in businesses, we have success in growth, high growth rate, economy, and so on. Our technology is booming and all that. We are celebrating, but the house itself is burning. We're not taking the burning of the house in recognition. I said, this is a ridiculous situation that we are not even aware of the reality of our situation. We should be coming out and stop the fire first before we do celebrate and feel happy about what we are doing. So that is the danger. The burning of the house is continuing. Now this is a time now that celebrations may have reduced because of the pandemic. So we can pause for a while and come back and stop the global warming. So this would be our first task. And the second task the global pre-pandemic thing was doing was extreme concentration of wealth. You hear it occasionally, but you consistently we don't follow it up. All the wealth of the world is concentrating in fewer hands. This is the way our economy works. Our economy is pushing us into that direction. Today, 99% of the wealth of the entire world is in the command of the 1% of the population. It's owned by 1% of the population. So 1% of the population owning 99% of the wealth. It's a globally, if you go country by country, you look at your country, it will be something like that. You may be 2%, 1%, whatever you have. Very small percentage of population owning the bulk, even the whole of the wealth that is in the bottom. There's not much wealth left for the 99% of the people. So the 99% of the people live in a very small amount. The people that we're saying that push back into the poverty again, even before pandemic, $5.50 a day. Again, I repeat, $5.50 a day. The people who earn $5.50 a day, they accounted for half the population of the entire world, less than $5.50. So you go to $11 a day, you not only 50%, now you'll be hitting 60%, 70%. If you go to $100 a day, you get about 90% of the people. You get $500 a day, it's almost done. So all the population is under that. But the wealth doesn't belong to all these people who are under $100 a day or $200 a day. Wealth belongs to people who are $1 billion a day, $1 million a day. That's what they're doing in the top. In the top, all those people are there. And the distance between the people and the wealth is expanding. It's getting bigger and bigger. So this is getting it to be a ticking time bomb. It can explode anytime. So I've been saying that no going back. We don't want to continue in that path. This is explosive path. Let's take a separate path. This is an opportunity. We want to take a new path, which will take us to a world. We want to create a world of 3 zeros. That's the issue that I keep raising. A world of 3 zeros. Zero net carbon emission, meaning there'll be no global warming in that world. We can do that. It's within our capacity. It's all making a decision. And once we make a decision, it can happen. The second, there'll be no wealth concentration. No wealth concentration to end poverty. The poverty will end when the wealth concentration will end. So we want to make sure it's zero wealth concentration. Third one is zero unemployment to unleash entrepreneurial ability in all persons. I believe that all human beings are entrepreneurs. But economic theory pushed us into a wrong direction to become job seekers. So we became job seekers rather than entrepreneurs. But the real capacity is to become entrepreneurs. So we want to create a new world of 3 zeros. As I explained, this is the direction and this is the time to do that. And we have the occasion. So we are holding our Social Business Day annual event. And during the event, we'll be launching a new program. We call it 3-0 Clubs. We'll be inviting young people to create 3-0 Clubs to work for creating a world of 3 zeros. I hope you will join one of those 3-0 Clubs. Thank you very much.
Professor Yunus, so powerful. And I wanted to ask you, given that this day is about inspiration and what we need to do in the course of the next year and the next nearly 9 years before we reach the deadline for the SDGs of 2030, where do you draw your own inspiration, especially given so many of the challenges that you've mentioned?
Yeah, actually, the inspiration comes from the work itself. This inspiration is not something that can really pour into you from outside. Maybe some can inspire, but the real inspiration comes from the work that you do, the happiness that you get from the work itself. Like I was doing, I was explaining how we started giving money to poor people. It inspired me when I see that this money has changed their life and their children and everything else. And the idea I had came into real action and make it happen. So that excited me to do more. If I did 5, I want to do 10 people. And from 10 people, I want to do 20 people. I tried to explain it saying in a simple way. I said, making money may be happiness, but making other people happy is a super happiness. So that super happiness is what excites me when you do that. When you do solar energy in the rural areas, you never thought anybody would ever understand what solar energy is. Now they're expert in solar energy because they use solar energy every day, how to position their solar panel towards the direction of the sun when the sun is going down, and they know that there's something related to it. So you're excited that their children learn that the energy is created in their home. They're not waiting for some central facility, send the electricity by wire from somewhere else. They create their own energy. And they are dependent, and all these exciting thing that happens. So that excitement is the inspiration. That's what I think anybody will feel that.
So I also want to ask you what you think are the things that we most need to concentrate on to achieve the SDGs. I think you've given that away in the 3 zeros, as you just mentioned, but I wondered if you could talk a little bit more about what as the specific things that we need to do.
SDGs are important, but they focus on 1, 2, 3, and 17. They don't talk about the causes behind it, which is very important. I'm getting to the causes of it. I said, if we can solve the problem of wealth concentration, we'll solve most of the 17 goals that we have. The wealth concentration is taking all the wealth from people. This is a machine. The economy is becoming a sucking machine. It sucks away all the wealth from the bottom. And the profit is the vehicle by which this money is sucked away. So as long as the profit-making continues, you cannot stop. You cannot create those SDGs. Even by any chance, if you succeed in achieving all the 17 goals by 2030, you come back again in a few years later, in 2 years, 3 years later, they're back again. Because you have not solved the real problem. You have not turned off the faucet, which is flooding your floor. So you have to close the faucet first before you clear the floor. So I said, why don't we go to the root causes? Root causes is a very simple thing. Economics has misinterpreted the human being. They interpreted human being as someone who is driven by self-interest. So profit maximization is the symbol of self-interest. You're pursuing your self-interest. That's what the economy is all about. Economy, profit maximization is all about economy. You can add this thing here, this thing. These are just a polishing, the window dressing. But the real business is profit maximization for yourself. So as long as you remain devoted to that, you're not challenging that, you're not abandoning that, wealth will be concentrated. You are a small business person, there's a bigger person, and there's a bigger person, all goes to the top. And the facilitating factor is the banking system, financial system. Financial system is based on the principle, the more you have, the more we give. So you get the support from the bank if you have more. So if you're little, you get very little attention from them. If you're big, you get all the attention. But that's how you take up all the wealth yourself. And that's how the distance between the people and the wealth keeps on increasing. So I said, we have to go back to that interpretation of human being, redo it, because the real human being is driven by self-interest. It's admitted, it's accepted. But it is also simultaneously interested in something else, collective interest. It's self-interest driven and collective interest driven. That's what the human beings are. But the economics completely dismiss the whole idea of collective interest. There's no collective interest in economics. Economics, if you talk about the collective interest in economics, he said, go to the government, let them solve that. It's not the problem of the business. Business is not concerned with the collective interest. Collective interest is to the government. I said, no, human beings are born with both interests. So that's why you already have the profit maximizing business. We are not challenging that. We said same human being can create another business, collective interest driven business. And that's what I was giving all the examples that I created: solar energy company, health company, sanitation company, and all those other companies as a social business, where a business is devoted to solving problems. It's a collective problem, and with no interest in making money. So you need two kinds of businesses: business to make money, business to solve problem. It's a choice of human being. You see, economics doesn't give you a choice. I said, that's a mistake. Economics should be giving people to express themselves in two ways, at least. In two ways. One is a self-interest driven ways, and there is a collective interest driven. And they can do both. There's nothing wrong with that. But that door has to be open. Education has to be transformed. Our learning process has to be transformed by saying that we can do it both ways. We can do it in a social business way. We can do it in a profit maximizing way. Then some of them will say, okay, this is what I do. When you do address those SDGs and do it in a social business way, they become more strong, more perfect, more sustainable, and so on. So this is the whole idea that SDG is being. So SDG has to be addressed in a bigger format. You have to take the problem of the economics itself. If you don't take the problem of global warming, who is creating global warming? Businesses are creating global warming. It's not the God which is creating global warming. So if you said that, well, business is good and let's continue, so we continue with global warming too. So somebody has to come and say, no, you cannot do that. So your profit maximization is the wrong idea. So you have to do sacrifices that then you come to the social business idea. So why don't we create a business to remove global warming? We create renewable energy companies. So if you have a social business, you'll be creating social business for renewable energy, so that you can dismiss the fossil fuel energy, and we create green energy companies like the solar company that I was talking about. And then you remember the vaccines during the pandemic, how profit is taken over in an ugly way. They forgot about the life of the people. They couldn't care less what the people survive or not. We have been campaigning to make vaccine patent-free so that anybody can produce it anywhere. No, they will not allow that. So patent has been owned by the big companies, and big companies want to make big businesses, whether vaccines are available to anybody or not. So as a result, whole world is suffering from that. Not many people, many countries have access to vaccines right now, because vaccine companies want to make big money out of it. So profit maximization to get that way. What we are saying, let's create a social business pharmaceutical company. We are not interested in making money. We're interested in saving people's life. So we can do that. And that's the kind of investment you can make. That investment is a simple idea. You invest and you cover your cost and you have a surplus. First surplus, you want to take back your investment money, you take back. But after you have taken back your investment money, you don't take a penny out of the business. And it's all devoted to solving problems. And that's what you do. So that's a social business idea. So I said these are the fundamental issues that we have to think about. Otherwise, as long as wealth concentration continues as it is now, as long as global warming continues as it is now, SDGs, no chance.
These are important truths, Professor Yunus. I'm going to give you the final word. Given that our focus is on mobilizing business, you've given us so much food for thought about the need for business to have a social purpose. But for the rest of our day ahead, what would you say is something that you want business to remember?
First of all, I would say that you recognize the problems themselves and see what role you want to play in addressing these problems. Because if you are not addressing the basic problems, global warming, as I said, the three things I mentioned, global warming is wealth concentration is another, unemployment is another one. Unemployment also in a bigger context of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is coming. You cannot stop it because money makers don't stop it, because there's a lot of money involved in that. They want to make more money, replace human beings on the job. The bottom line is you make your production cost goes less, and your bottom line get better. So you want to put money in investment in artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is coming in a big way. When artificial intelligence comes, all the people will be out of jobs. That's the ultimate of artificial intelligence, because machine does better work than human beings. So what does human being do at that time? Some say, well, they'll enjoy their life. I said, how to enjoy their life? Where is their income? And then they come with the solution, they should have universal basic income. Government should pay them. I said, wow, finally, after all these years of our existence in this planet, entire human race have become beggars. They live as a beggars. I said, I don't want to be a beggar. Why should I be beggar? I am a creative person. I can do anything I want. And this is what that capacity I want to keep for myself. I don't want any machine to take it from me. So is the machine, is the artificial intelligence the right way to do things, or it's the wrong way to do things? I said technology can be a curse and technology can be a blessing. So we have to see which part of technology is a blessing, which part of technology is a curse. And when the artificial intelligence take people out of jobs, all kinds of jobs, not just the heavy jobs at the bottom, every job, in all intellectual jobs, everything will be gone because of the artificial intelligence. I said, that's a curse. That's not the use of the technology that we should be developing. Artificial intelligence could be a blessing when we bring it to healthcare, we bring it to education, we bring it to things, but not this one. Like nuclear technology, like many other technology, like chemical technology. We can kill people with chemical technology. We can also save people with technology. So which one you want? With the nuclear energy, we can save people. We can also destroy people, kill people in a massive way. So we have to draw the line. That line has not been drawn. So we want to make sure that line is drawn, and human beings are discovered as an entrepreneur, not as a job seeker. The whole problem of unemployment is created by the concept of employment. If we didn't have the concept of employment, there is no unemployment. And there is no reason to have the concept of employment, because we were not employed by anybody throughout our history. We were always hunters and gatherers. We are always problem solvers. We solved our own problems. That's what we did through thousands of years on this planet. We didn't work for anybody. But suddenly some people said, oh, we have to work for somebody so that somebody can make lots of money out of it. I said, that's the mistake we have done in our time. We have to rediscover ourselves as an entrepreneur. All human beings should be entrepreneurs. That's our education should tell us, that you are getting ready to become an entrepreneur. You're not getting ready to be a job seeker. Then we discover ourselves. If you start being an entrepreneur, a wealth concentration will disappear. Wealth concentration happens because we volunteer ourselves to become their hired gun, to work for them, to bring wealth for them. We are not somebody to work for them to make them money. So why don't we do it ourselves? We go and do our business and collect other wealth for ourselves. If everybody is collecting their own wealth, they are not working for somebody else to bring wealth for them, then there's no wealth concentration. Wealth is equally dispersed, equally shared. I said the real solution is to design an economy where wealth and people be together, not wealth in one direction up in the sky and moving away from people. People are stuck in the bottom of the pyramid, bottom of the income line, income graph. So this, wealth and people should be living in one space, not two different spaces. Today it's in two different spaces, and that wealth space is moving away from people's space. That is the real problem. So we have to undo that system. And undoing that system is simple, going back to the basics of economics, as I was explaining what the economy is, what the entrepreneurship is, what the business is, and what this technology is. And then we discover this things much easier. So I would say you try to think about this. You don't have to take my solution. You see what the problem is. Do the problems that I mentioned, the three major problems that I said, does it make sense to you? If it is, what are you doing for it? We are always assuming somebody's doing something for us. We are busy making money. Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's doing money, making money. So in the whole picture, we destroy ourselves. So can I be somebody who can use our talent, use our capacity to address these issues? And that's when everything happened. That's why we said, let's create 30 clubs. So the club is 5 members, that's all. 5 people get together and so on. We'll explain it on Social Business Day on June 20th. Thank you.
Professor Muhammad Yunus, thank you so much for sharing these very important thoughts with us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.